Listen to me. What I'm about to tell you is not entertainment. It is not comfort. This is not for the soft-hearted or those who came here to be motivated for 5 minutes and return to a weak life. This is a call to rise, a call to become unshakable. If you are looking for sugar-coated lies, leave now. But if you are ready to confront yourself, stay. Because what we're building here is not a moment of hype. We're building a foundation that can't be broken when the world turns dark. You've been lied to. They told you success is about image, about popularity, about being liked. But no one told you the truth, that without strong character, you will lose everything. The fame will fade, the money will slip, the crowd will forget you. But your character, that is what holds you when life tries to crush you. That is what speaks when your name is not in the room. That is what heaven and hell weigh when your life ends. And I must warn you, this world is not for the weak. You cannot fake strength. You cannot borrow character. It is either forged deep inside you, or you will collapse when the test comes. You will break under pressure. You will betray your calling. But if you stay with me, if you listen with your soul, not just your ears, you will leave this speech with fire in your bones and clarity in your spirit. Because I am not here to entertain you. I am here to build you, to wake up the warrior within you, the part of you that refuses to be fake, the part of you that is tired of playing small, the part of you that knows I was not made to be soft. I was made to stand when others fall. I was made to carry truth even if it cost me everything. So don't just sit there and listen. Receive it. Every word challenge you. Let every truth cut through your excuses. Let every warning shake your comfort. Because by the end of this speech, you won't walk like you walked in. You will walk with purpose, with weight, with honor. Because now we build strong character. Are you ready? Let's begin. Let me tell you something most people will never say to your face. Talent is overrated. Motivation is temporary. But discipline, that's where your power begins. That's where real character is born. Not in the fire of applause, but in the quiet moments where no one is clapping. When you're alone, tempted, tired, misunderstood, and still, you choose what's right over what's easy. That's the foundation of a man. That's the making of a woman who cannot be moved. You want to be strong? Then stop chasing emotions and start mastering discipline. Stop waiting to feel like it. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, angry, lonely, or broken. It only asks one thing. Will you obey the standard you said you believed in, even when it costs you something? A person with no discipline will destroy themselves with their own hands. You can't blame the devil, your enemies, or your past. If you keep feeding your distractions, if you keep negotiating with your weaknesses, if you keep giving yourself permission to be soft, then don't cry when life knocks you flat. Because life has no sympathy for the undisciplined. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a weapon. It's your sword. It's your shield. What guards your focus from the noise, your integrity from the pressure, your purpose from the poison of comfort. A person with discipline can be trusted. A person with discipline will finish what they start. A person with discipline doesn't just rise once. They rise again and again and again until the mission is done. And here's what most people don't want to admit. If your life is out of order, if your habits are sloppy, if your words contradict your actions, it's not because you don't know better. It's because you've abandoned discipline. You've chosen ease over excellence. But you can't build a legacy on ease. You can't lead people when you can't even lead yourself. You can't inspire others when your own life is chaotic behind closed doors. Wake up! You say you want greatness, but greatness is not a gift. It is a burden carried by the disciplined. You think those who succeed just got lucky? No. They bled for it in silence. They refused to be ruled by cravings. They trained when no one was watching. They said no 1,000 times to things that looked good, but would have ruined them. They stood alone when it was easier to follow the crowd. And even when they were exhausted, they still got up and did what had to be done. Discipline starts with the little things. The way you wake up, the way you speak, the way you finish what you begin. If you can't control your habits, don't talk to me about destiny. If you can't conquer your mouth, your laziness, your excuses, then how will you ever conquer the mountain ahead of you? You have to become dangerous in your discipline. Dangerous in your consistency. The kind of person who doesn't need to announce what they're doing because their life shows it. You don't need validation when your fruit speaks. You don't need applause when your discipline is building things that will outlive you. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand firm. And if standing firm makes people uncomfortable, then so be it. You're not here to entertain weakness. You're here to conquer yourself. The man or woman who has mastered discipline becomes a weapon in any environment. Put them in the wilderness, they'll survive. Put them in the fire, they'll walk through it. Why? Because they don't fold when it gets hard. They don't lose themselves under pressure. Discipline teaches them to breathe when others are panicking, to act when others freeze, to obey when others are led by impulse. You are not weak. You were just undisciplined. You were not broken. You were distracted. But the moment you decide to take control, the moment you kill comfort and resurrect consistency, everything changes. You become sharp, focused, respected. Not because of how loud you are, but because of how stable you've become. The kind of person who keeps showing up when others disappear. The kind of soul that doesn't need to be watched to do the right thing. That's real power. And when you finally look back, months or years from now, after rebuilding yourself through the fire of discipline, you'll realize something profound. It was never the talent that separated you. It was never the motivation. It was the fact that while others were sleeping, quitting and talking, you were disciplining yourself in silence. And that silence will echo louder than any applause ever could. Pressure doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. The moment life turns up the heat, masks fall off, words don't matter then. Image doesn't matter. What you said you would do means nothing when your back is against the wall. Pressure strips away everything fake and shows the world what's really inside. And if you're empty, if you're shallow, if you've been playing a role, you will break. You will fall. Because the strength you pretended to have will not save you when the fire comes. People think character is proven in moments of applause. But no. Character is proven in betrayal. It's tested in suffering. It's refined in isolation. It's shown not when you're celebrated, but when you're crushed. It's easy to look strong when nothing's going wrong. But what happens when you're hit with loss, when people you trusted walk away, when your plan collapses in front of you? That's when your character starts speaking. That's when your soul shows itself. Whether it's built on truth or built on truth or built on no. You see, pressure is the great equalizer. It doesn't care who you pretend to be. It doesn't care how many followers you have. It doesn't care how good your speeches sound or how impressive your image is. It's not impressed by your talent or your titles. It wants to know, what are you when you're tired? What are you when you're disappointed? What are you when you're rejected? Because if your strength depends on comfort, you never had strength at all. You only had convenience. The strongest people I've ever seen didn't look powerful when life was good. They looked powerful when they were bleeding and still walking, when they were crushed and still faithful. When everything around them was shaking, but they refused to move. And that kind of strength, that kind of unshakable presence, it doesn't come from talent. It comes from a soul that has been through the fire and didn't quit. A soul that has stared into pain and didn't run. That's character. Some of you have been asking why your life feels heavy, why things keep pressing you, why trials keep coming. But maybe life isn't punishing you. Maybe life is revealing you. Maybe the pressure is not there to destroy you, but to show you who you are. Maybe it's exposing the weak spots you never dealt with. Because you can't carry greatness with soft hands. You can't lead others when you keep quitting on yourself. The pressure is trying to refine you, not to shame you, but to awaken you. And if you let it, if you stop fighting it, if you stop crying every time it gets hard, if you face it with open eyes and a steady heart, you will come out different. You will come out stronger, sharper, clearer. You will no longer be swayed by moods or manipulated by noise. You will walk with weight, not because you talk loud, but because you endured silently what others ran from. You don't grow in comfort. You grow when the pressure makes you choose. When you're forced to decide who you really are, will you lie to protect your name? Or will you tell the truth and pay the price? Will you compromise to be accepted? Or will you stand alone and keep your integrity? These are the moments that define you, not the highlights, but the hidden decisions that no one claps for. And don't fool yourself. Pressure doesn't just show you to the world. It shows you to yourself. It reveals your loyalty. It reveals your addictions. It reveals your foundation. You find out what you really believe when believing comes with a cost. You find out who you really love when love means suffering. You find out what you're really made of when you can't escape the storm. The question is not whether pressure will come. It will. The question is, will you still be standing when it does? Will your character hold when your plans fall apart? De nada? Will you still walk in truth when lies would be easier? Because if you only do what's right when it's easy, that's not character. That's convenience. And this world doesn't need more people of convenience. It needs people of depth, of substance, of steel. And that's what pressure creates, if you let it. So don't despise the fire. Don't curse the storm. Let it do its work. Let it remove what's weak. Let it harden what's strong. Let it break your pride and build your endurance. Let it teach you to stand alone, to walk silently, to be unmoved when others are panicking. That's how leaders are born, not in the light, but in the fire, not in comfort, but in pressure. Because at the end of it all, when the storm clears and the dust settles, only those with real character will still be standing. The world today is led by emotions, and that is why it is so broken. People act on impulse, speak without thinking, choose what feels good instead of what is right, and they wonder why their lives collapse. But if you want to build a strong character, if you want to be unshakable in a shaking world, then you must understand this truth. Your emotions are not meant to lead you. Your emotions are not your compass. Your values must lead. Your convictions must take the driver's seat, not your feelings. Every single day you are faced with choices, and most of those choices come wrapped in feelings. Anger tells you to react. Lust tells you to chase. Fear tells you to run. Pride tells you to retaliate. But if you obey those emotions every time they rise, you become a slave. No. And no slave has strong character. A person ruled by emotions can't be trusted. They shift with every mood. They betray themselves when pressure hits. They say things in heat that they regret in peace. And what's worse, they lose everything of value chasing moments of satisfaction. But a person who is led by values, by truth, by honor, by integrity, that person walks with stability. That person does not compromise just because the moment is heavy. That person doesn't become another version of themselves just because the situation gets uncomfortable. Their values anchor them. And when the storm rages, they don't move. Because they don't live for feelings, they live for purpose. Ask yourself, what guides you when it's hard? What leads your steps when you're hurt? When you're betrayed? When you're angry? Are you someone who reacts or someone who responds from a place of truth? Because there's a difference. Reactions are emotional, but responses are intentional. One is driven by impulse, the other by principle. One burns bridges, the other builds legacies. I've seen men throw away their families because they followed lust for 5 minutes. I've seen women destroy their own calling because they followed jealousy. I've seen leaders collapse in shame because they refuse to master their emotions in private. Don't let that be your story. Your emotions are real, but they're not always right. You must learn to feel deeply, but act wisely. You must feel pain and not let pain become your voice. You must feel anger and not let anger become your decision maker. A strong character knows how to pause, knows how to sit in silence, knows how to sit in silence, knows how to wrestle with emotion without letting it write the story. Because emotions are like wild horses, powerful, but dangerous if uncontrolled. But if you put the reins of your values on them, they can drive your life with force and direction. But leave them unchecked, and they'll destroy everything in their path, including you. And don't misunderstand me. This is not about becoming numb. This is not about shutting off your heart. No, it's about becoming someone who doesn't allow the heart to deceive them. It's about becoming someone who allows emotions to exist without becoming a slave to them. You will feel anger, but you don't have to curse. You will feel desire, but you don't have to chase it blindly. You will feel fear, but you don't have to run, because you have values. You have something deeper, a code of honor written in your spirit that reminds you who you are, even when your feelings scream something else. That's real maturity. That's real strength. That's what separates the shallow from the deep. You see, when a person without values is insulted, they retaliate. But when a person with values is insulted, they evaluate, and they keep their peace. When a person without values is offered power, they'll trade their soul. But when a person with values is offered power, they remember that not all doors are meant to be walked through. It's your values that hold you when the reward of compromise looks sweet. It's your values that remind you not everything that feels good is good. And in this world of confusion, where lies are dressed as truth, and wrong is marketed as freedom, only those with values will survive with their soul intact. Only those with convictions will resist the pull of the crowd. Because when everyone is running toward destruction, it takes courage to walk alone. guided by values, not feelings. You want to change your life? Start with your code. What do you believe in so deeply that no pressure can change it? What truth would you die to defend? That is your anchor. And without that anchor, you will drift. No matter how gifted you are, no matter how strong you look on the outside. So from this day forward, don't just feel, discern. Don't just react, reflect. And don't just follow your heart. Train your heart to follow truth. Because the greatest power is not the ability to act on every emotion, but the discipline to act only when your values align. You want to know where real character is built? It's not in the spotlight. It's not on the stage. It's not when the world is watching and the cameras are rolling. That's where results are revealed, not where strength is forged. Character is built in silence. It's built when no one is applauding. It's built in the dark places, the lonely places, the secret places. The world loves image, but character is shaped away from all that noise. It's formed when you make choices that no one will ever see, decisions that only God and your conscience will witness, and you still choose to do what's right. Everybody wants to be known. Everybody wants to be seen. But the question is, who are you when no one's looking? What are you building when there's no reward? No praise, no recognition. Because if you're only strong when you're seen, then you're not strong. You're performative. And performative character is fragile. It crumbles when the lights go off. It collapses when the applause fades. That's why so many people rise fast and fall faster. Because they skip the secret place. They didn't build anything real in the silence. You cannot fake depth. You cannot fake inner strength. Sooner or later, life will expose what you've built. And if you spent your time decorating your image but neglected your soul, you will collapse when the test comes. Because you don't fight battles with image. You fight them with identity, with foundation, with quiet strength that was built in the fire of obscurity. There's power in the secret life. There's power in doing what's right when no one will ever know you did it. When you help someone and tell no one. When you resist temptation and don't announce it. When you discipline yourself behind closed doors and never seek validation. That's where real honor is built. That's where real honor is built. That's where the roots grow deep, and only those with deep roots survive when the winds come. We live in a generation addicted to visibility. If they pray, they post it. If they sacrifice, they broadcast it. But listen, the loudest people are not always the strongest. The ones who show the most are often the ones with the least to hold. But the one who walks quietly, who shows up consistently, who doesn't need to be clapped for, to do what's right, that one is dangerous. That one is unshakable. Because their strength doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being grounded. If your private life is undisciplined, your public image is a lie. If your heart is corrupt when no one is watching, your success is only a matter of time before it self-destructs. Because your platform will expose you faster than it builds you. It will magnify whatever is inside you. So if you haven't taken the time to build honor in the quiet, then the spotlight won't elevate you. It will destroy you. Some of you are frustrated because you feel unseen. You feel overlooked. But maybe that's grace. Maybe being hidden right now is the protection you need. Maybe this is your construction season. A time to dig deep, the time to build without performance. Because the one who builds in silence will stand in strength when the time comes. The one who builds with integrity in the hidden place will not be shaken when they're finally seen. Don't rush the process. Don't chase exposure. Build your character like a fortress, brick by brick, day by day. Let every unseen act of discipline, every quiet moment of truth, every private sacrifice, let it become your foundation. So that when the door opens, you're ready. Not just visible. Ready to carry what others can't. Ready to lead without compromising. Ready to stand in rooms that would crush a weaker soul. There's a reason why some people shine for a moment and vanish. Because they were lifted by hype, not built by truth. But if you're willing to stay in the shadows and do the work, the hard, slow, daily work, then when your time comes, no one will be able to take it from you. Because you didn't borrow your strength. You earned it in silence. So I challenge you now. Stop obsessing over being seen. Start focusing on who you are when you're alone. Build when no one notices. Grow when no one claps. And make peace with the fact that the strongest people don't need to be loud. They just need to be real. Because when the time is right, the world won't need to be convinced. They'll feel the weight of your character before you even speak.